Let me ask you something real quick. How much of your life are you actually living for yourself, for somebody else? How many things have you not done because you are afraid of what other people might think of you? How many times have you played small? Have you downplayed your dreams? Have you downplayed your opinions, your thoughts, even your energy? Because you were scared of judgment from others or someone talking bad about you. If any of this hit, then this episode is for you. Today, we are going to be breaking down exactly why we care so much, where this fear of judgment actually comes from, and most importantly, how to stop giving a fuck what other people think of you. You can start living your life however the heck you want immediately right now and live your best life. So let's dive in. So this first part, we're going to talk about the psychology of why we care what other people think. What is this? Where is this coming from? So why do we care so much? Why does the thought of judgment hold so much weight on ourselves? And this is a huge thing that collectively happens in the world. We care so much about what other people think. Why is this? Well, we are going to take it all the way back and talk about some evolutionary psychology. Humans are social creatures, and our ancestors literally needed to fit in to survive. Think about hundreds of thousands of years ago when we lived in tribal communities and we literally needed to fit in with the tribe. We needed to fit in with other people, other humans, or we would die. So a lot of this fear of, or this need and this desperation of fitting in, of being accepted, it stems from like our ancestral genes, our generational trauma, our need to survive that is still within us, something that we still carry because as a human species, this is something that we had to do. So back then, rejection from the tribe literally meant death. You were alone. And surviving out in the wilderness like that, all by yourself, yeah, you would die. So we literally needed to. So when we're talking about evolutionary psychology, that is where this is coming into play. Some of it is really stemming from that as our species, as humans. And this primal fear still exists within your brain. Even though the stakes are not as high, even though the danger is not as high as it was when we were back living in tribal communities out on the land and things like that, this fear still sits in our brain. And that's where some of this is actually coming from, is our primal instincts as humans. But here's the reality is you don't live in a world where getting judged means being exiled, where getting judged means death. The only thing at risk now is really your own ego. Let's talk a little bit about the ego and social conditioning. So, we are raised to seek approval. If you think about, like in the school system, at least in the American school system, we are raised to think like we need good grades, we need the A's, we need the B's, but mostly A's, we need the good attendance. And we were constantly getting this positive reinforcement from good grades and from doing well in school means we got to get praise from our parents, from our teachers, and in a place that we were literally at like 30, 40 hours a week. And so we are literally conditioned to seek approval. And it stems back from whenever we started pre K or kindergarten. And whenever we were liked, whenever we were good at sports, whenever we made good choices, we got a pat on the back, we got a good job, you're doing great. So we have this conditioning that has made us seek approval constantly. And society has conditioned us to actually fear being different. A lot of in society, even like growing up on commercials, and I feel like things have gotten better now, but there was a certain mold that you had to fit, a certain body type, certain hairstyle, a certain way of being that was the ultimate way of being. Like this is the trophy and everyone should be like this. Everyone should be like Barbie. Everyone should, be skinny, be good at sports, be the good girl, be go to college, get married, have children, get a good job, all those things. And we were really society really conditions us in this way and it's conditioned us that since we were little kids. And so we internalize that the idea of judgment equals failure. So because being judged and not fitting into this mold that society wants us to fit into, they make you feel like a failure if you don't go the exact route that society wants you to. So if you don't get the good grades, maybe you're not good at math, but you're really good at art or something like that that just like wasn't good enough, or at least sometimes maybe it felt that way, or because you maybe had a different body type or a different type of hair or whatever the case is, or maybe you talk differently or came from a different culture or whatever the case is, you were judged because you didn't fit this perfect little mold. And I'm specifically talking about like American culture, whenever I'm speaking from my own experience and when I'm speaking about society because this is where I was raised. specifically in the Midwest. But we internalize the idea of judgment equals failure. If you're getting judged, if you're different, then you're a failure. So we have started to have this social conditioning that has affected our ego and things like that as too. So that's another place that it's actually stemming from. But here is what is really happening. When people judge you, they are just projecting their own fears, their own insecurities onto you. It's actually not about you at all. So whenever someone judges you, or maybe you're with someone and you notice them judging another person, like, oh, why is she wearing that? Why is she doing that? They're just projecting their own fears and insecurities that they have about themselves, and that person is like bringing up that trigger within them. So they feel the need to put someone down to judge someone else because it makes them feel better. I mean, I know that you might have heard of that before, but reality check here is that most people are too busy worrying about themselves to care about what you're doing. And another thing is that no matter if you're doing good, bad, or you're living a good life, a bad life, if you're living in the middle, whatever wherever you land on the spectrum or the so-called success meter or fitting the mold or whatever, wherever you lie, you're going to get judged no matter what you do. People are always going to be judging you. So why would you let that hold you back? Because most of the time, if someone is judging you, it really just has something to do with them and has nothing at all to do with you. Because someone who feels fulfilled and whole and confident, secure in themselves, they would never put someone else down. They just don't feel the need. See, they just don't feel the need to do that. So if someone is trying to put you down, if someone is judging you, that's their own thing. And you don't need to internalize that as something is wrong with you. So why are you making yourself small for an audience that isn't even watching? Why are you making yourself small for an audience that's going to judge you, whether you're small or large, whether you're loud or quiet, whether you're this authentic version of yourself, or whether you're maybe a more insecure, non authentic version of yourself. Like, why are you going to let someone else's opinion depict how you live your life? Because you should not be letting someone else's projections, fears, insecurities, their idea of how we should be dictate how we live our life because it's not their life. And we have to let go of this fear of judgment. We're not in tribal communities living on the land anymore. We don't need this approval from everybody else anymore. We have the luxury of being our own independent selves now more than ever. And I feel like things are really evolving and changing in this way, but there definitely is that way of conditioning and thinking that still gets projected onto us. But you don't have to take that projection as yours. Those projections, that conditioning has everything to do with those external sources and nothing to do with you. You have to tune it out and you have to stay true to yourself because no matter what you do, somebody's going to judge you. Somebody's going to say something has nothing to do with you. When you feel complete and good about yourself, you don't like that doesn't phase you, you know? So that's also a self-confidence, a self-worth issue as well. And then that's also has to do with their insecurities. Like, why do they feel the need to judge me, put me down? It's probably because there's something going on with them that we don't even need to depict or we don't need to pick apart right now. We're just gonna let that be. You can judge me all you want. You need to figure that shit out on your own. Okay, anyways. So what is the cost of caring too much? Like what caring caring what people think is not just annoying. It's not just like, oh, this sucks. I care so much about what people think. It's actually ruining your life. Like it truly is ruining your life. And you have to stop caring what other people think. And you have to, the sooner you do it, the better off you're going to be in the long term of your life. The more happier, the more free, the more authentic, the more magnetic, vibrant person you're going to be when you stop giving a fuck what other people think. So it's important to do this as soon as possible because it's actually ruining your life and making you live in a life that's probably not making you satisfied, not making you happy, and things like that. Or maybe you're lying to yourself when you're saying, saying that it is, but really it's not. So it's so important to let go of these judgments. And that's what we're trying to do. So first thing it's doing is it's holding you back from taking risks. So whenever you second guess every move that you make because you are nervous about what your mom's going to think or what your friends are going to think or what people on the internet are going to think or whatever that is that you're thinking, like you are just being insecure and second guessing every decision that you make whenever you are the expert in your own life. And then you don't end up doing anything at all. You don't end up changing. You don't end up progressing. You don't end up living a life that's authentic to you because you're second guessing everything because you're worried about what other people think. So it's holding you back. And you're also waiting for approval from someone else instead of just trusting yourself. So there's this lack of like self-trust that's going on as well. And you have to trust in your decisions and stop thinking everybody else has the answers on your life because nobody knows you like you know yourself. Of course, our friends and our family members, they want to help us and they usually want what's best for us. but you're truly the only person that knows what's best for you. And I truly believe that you are the expert in your life. And so you're waiting for approval instead of actually just getting out there and doing the things and trusting in yourself. And also a way that it's holding you back is you're staying in a safe, comfortable, acceptable zone. And that is where growth does not happen. So when you're safe, when you're comfortable, when you're not taking risks, when you're not growing, evolving, things like that, because of societal conditioning, because of caring what people are going to think of, and you just want to stay in this mold, stay in this bubble, you are not growing and evolving at all. And truly, that's what I think one of the purposes of life is to grow, evolve, to change, to adventure, adapt, explore, all these things is to expand. We want to be expanding. And whenever you are caring what others think, it holds you back and you prevent yourself from expanding and evolving into the best version of yourself that you could be. So another way it's holding you back is you're not being true to yourself. You are doing yourself a disservice and you morph into who you think people want you to be. You morph into a version of yourself that maybe fits how other people are, or maybe fits how you think someone might approve you. When really, if you were your authentic self, that is so much more sexy and magnetic than morphing into a version of someone else or a version of multiple people that you think you should be like. When you are your true authentic self, you are absolutely just like radiating this badass, confident energy. And that is a powerful vibration to hold. So when you care about what others think, you're not actually being 100% true to yourself and you're doing yourself a disservice. And then you also start making choices to actually impress other people, not because they align with your soul. So you start doing jobs or you start doing things that get you the good job, you're doing great from other people instead of like doing things that actually align with your soul. Maybe you go to college because you know that that's what everyone else is doing, what you know will get approval from your parents instead of doing something that actually aligns with your soul, maybe like art or traveling or being a writer or doing something on your own. And you're making choices just to impress other people, not choices that actually align with who you are. And then eventually you just end up losing sight of who you are. And I know a lot of people are stuck in this place. Like, who am I? Where do I go? Where do I go from here? Just this like self discovery that I feel like so many of us are searching for. Who am I? Whenever you start to really like take a step back and notice and have this self awareness of like, wow, I really have been living and doing jobs and doing all these things that I feel like I should do, but is it actually what I want to do? No. And then it's like, okay, let's scratch all that. Let me quit all this and let's restart and do go all the way on the other end of things and start doing things that I want to do, you know? So when you start to become aware, you start to shed away these things that are not actually a part of who you are. But whenever you hold yourself back and you care what others think, you truly lose sight of who you are, of your authentic self. And that's not a fun place to be in. Another thing is it wastes your time and energy, like genuinely. It just like you spend so much time and energy caring what other people think instead of just living your best life, instead of being happy, having gratitude, doing things that truly make you happy. The energy that you spend overthinking what others think could be spent living, could be spent going after a new job that you want, could be spent hanging out with your loved ones, could be spent outdoors in nature, could be spent going to yoga, doing photography, hanging out with your animals, whatever that look, traveling, like, or planning your next adventure, or calling a friend on the phone. Like, the energy you spend overthinking on things takes away from actually living your life. And you only have one life, and you don't want to spend it overthinking and caring about what other people think. And the opportunities that you don't take because of judgment are the ones that you're going to forget. The jobs, maybe the things that you start. Maybe you've always wanted to start your own business. Maybe you've always wanted to put yourself out there in some way and kind of do something that's not on the norm for you to do. And you won't do those things because you care too much about what other people think. And so just another way that you're just doing yourself just a huge disservice. It's truly time to shift your focus because at the end of the day, the only opinion that matters is your own. You are the one that is living your life and you have to stop living it for other people. You need to only truly live it for yourself because at the end of the day, all of these people are going to come in and out of your life. At the end of the day, it's just going to be you. So you truly have to live your life for yourself. Well, now we've kind of talked about all of the backstory. Where is this coming from? How is it holding you back? So how do you actually do it? How do you stop caring what others think? So here are some steps to breaking free, to stepping into your inner lioness, as I like to say, stepping into your power, being courageous, and being that badass version of yourself, being that authentic, happy version of yourself. So let's get to this good part, how to actually stop giving a flying fuck. So the first thing is to reframe judgment. It is not about you. When people judge, criticize, or throw shade, it truly has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. I know that we touched on this before, but I want you to remember this whenever you're like, oh, wow, that person's judging me, or I think that person's talking crap on me, or they're looking at me weird, or she said this about me, or I'm feeling this vibe. When they judge you, criticize you, just let them. Like, it's really not about you. It has everything to do with them. And try to reframe the way that you're thinking about that. Their opinions are shaped by their fears, their upbringing, their mindset, their conditioning, their experiences, just like your opinions are shaped by your upbringing, your mindset, your experiences. So let's just stay in our own lane here. Let's just stay in our lane. Let them stay in their lane. You stay in your lane as well. So someone judging your life is likely afraid of taking risks on their own. So this happens a lot. I mean, this has happened to me before as well. So when someone sees you out there being your authentic self, when they see you taking risks, when they see you evolving and maybe becoming your actual self and kind of unbecoming everything that you're not and stepping into what makes you you and all of your unique beautiful things about you, they're going to judge you. People are going to judge you, and it's just because they would never do that in a million years. They're afraid to take risks on their own. They're afraid of being their self. So when they see someone doing it, they're just like, oh my God, I'm going to judge them because I would never do that. And they might not be consciously aware of it, and usually they're not, but that's what's going on there. So that's someone's judgment is truly just comes out of their own fears and insecurities as well. And people who are truly happy, kind of like I said earlier, they do not waste energy judging other people. People who are happy do not waste energy judging other people. So if someone is judging you, they probably are not happy in their own lives and they're spending their time thinking about you and your choices. Like what like that's just so ick. That just like gives me the ick. Like, why are we gonna sit here and judge someone who's just out there living their best life? Like, nobody who's happy is gonna do that. If someone is doing that, it's like, oh, you got some work to do, honey. And you shouldn't be judging me. You need to be turning that finger around and pointing it at yourself and like where you're lacking. Okay. And that's not to throw hate to shade or on them, but it's like you can just like you can just go now with that. You know what I mean? So next time you feel judged, remind yourself this is about them. This is not about me. Okay. We're going to reframe that judgment right now. Number two, accept that you will never, ever please everyone. Okay. I know I mentioned this earlier, but we're touching back because I really want this to sit in with you. No matter what you do, someone is going to have an opinion. If you stay quiet, people are going to judge. If you speak up, someone's going to judge. If you follow the crowd, you're going to lose yourself. If you do your own thing, people are going to talk. Like, no matter what you do, someone's going to judge you. So you might as well just do what makes you the happiest. Like, I know that we can say that all day long, but like truly sit with that. Someone's going to judge you and have something to say and be triggered by you no matter what the fuck you do, no matter if you are just like them or if you are just authentically yourself, you know? So just do you're going to be judged anyway, so you need to just do what makes you happy. So instead of asking yourself what will they think, ask, do I like this choice? Does this feel right for me? And lead with that power. The third thing to do is start doing things that scare you. You have to step into courage. Courage is one of my core values just as a human being, and so the best way to stop caring is expose yourself to judgment and survive it, to step into courage, to do things that scare you and you realize, oh wow, I can do this. Look, I survived it. Look, I'm fine. It's not scary and bad after all. So I want you to do something that scares you. It could be something small, like posting something that you're scared to post, or speaking your truth without over explaining it, sharing your opinion and being okay with that, taking action, even if people don't get it. So you need to do something that scares you. Start doing those things and you'll start to develop more confidence in yourself and you'll realize it's really not that bad after all. The more you push through, the less fear has a hold on you. This is very similar to anxiety as well. The more that you confront the things that make you anxious, you confront the things that you feel fearful of, the less and less hold anxiety, fear, all of this is going to have on you. So you really have to start doing things that scare you. I know that is easier said than done. One way you can do this, and I also tell my clients this all the time, is create kind of like a hierarchy, like a anxiety hierarchy, a fear hierarchy, and start from like write down all these things and on a scale of like 0 to 100, rate them on like how scary these things would be for you and start at the lower things and get really comfortable doing the things that are maybe like in the 10s and 20s. Once you feel comfortable with those things, start doing things that are like in the 30s, 40s, and like start to work your way up. So kind of like a fear hierarchy is something you could try with doing things that scare you. And just know that like confidence is built through action. It's not waiting to feel ready. And I will do a whole other video on like confidence and taking action and things like that. But you have to remember that your confidence is built when you actually start doing the things and you start owning the things and you start to have that more trust in yourself, more confidence in yourself, more security in yourself when you start doing these things. So the next thing here is to build a unshakable self-identity. So you will always be affected by judgment when you don't have a solid sense of yourself. Another thing here is you will always different versions of yourself. People, you'll cling to other people really easily when you don't have a solid sense of self. So you need to get clear. Okay, so getting clear on your values. So what truly matters to you? What lights you up? What are your core values? What things are important to you? Get really clear on like who you are. It's fun to do self-discovery, like taking Myers-Briggs tests, taking personality tests, writing down your dreams, desires, even going on Pinterest and getting inspiration. Like I've done this before, like create like looking up like different photos of like girls and like their hair and their fashion and things like that. And just like pulling inspo, like who am I? And like kind of pulling all these pieces together is a start to trying to build your own self identity and creating that unshakable sense of self. And so you can also do some journal prompts about this, like who am I outside of what other people think about me? Like who am I truly when it's just me? Like whenever you were a little girl, or just whenever you like meditate with that, like truly sit with that feeling of like who am I? Without the opinions of others. And then also just surrounding yourself with people who encourage your authenticity. Surround yourself, if you're around new people, people who feel like they expand you and people who are their own authentic versions of themselves. Because when someone else is their authentic self, they're going to bring that out in you as well. And they're going to appreciate that in you. So it's important to notice the people in your environment and spend time with people who bring out your authenticity and who appreciate your authenticity as well. When you know who you are, outside validation becomes irrelevant. I know that outside validation is nice, and especially with social media and everything like that, that's just like a huge thing, especially for like our generation, my generation. But when you truly have a solid sense of self and the outside validation is irrelevant, like that shit is so magnetic and powerful. And so I really want you to try to tap into that more because you're literally going to be so much more powerful and beautiful and magnetic of a person when you actually don't need that outside validation and you validate your own self. And the last thing I want you to do is fast forward to the end of your life. I talk about this a lot and I think about this a lot. But I want you to picture yourself at 80 years old. Picture yourself like whenever you're at the end of your life. And I want you to picture yourself looking back at your life. Do you want to see a life where you played small because of fear? Do you want to see a life where you never actually did the things that you always wanted to do? Or do you want to see a life where you went for it? Where you did the things, where you took courage, where you did the things that scared you, where you were authentic self, despite what anyone thought of you. And there's an easy answer there. And then also with this prompt, I want you to imagine like what is that for you? Whenever what is the life you want to look back on when you're 80? And I want you to start taking steps to create that life for yourself and stop caring what everyone else thinks because it literally doesn't matter. Just let it go. Anytime you've noticed that thought coming in your mind of like, oh, is it what they're gonna think? Or this person, like right when you notice it, just shut it down. Just shut it down, whatever you got to do. Maybe it's just about like reframing the thought or thinking about something else, or literally placing that thought on a leaf, watching it go down the stream. That's a little mindfulness thing called leaves on stream. We're putting our thoughts on a stream, letting them go by. I'm not claiming that, whatever you need to do in that moment. So the reason why you need to stop caring today is you're the only person who has to live with your choices. The people you're afraid of impressing, they don't wake up in your body. They don't live your life and they don't chase your dreams. They don't deal with your regrets. So why the hell would you let them control your life? You have to stop letting them control your life. So starting today, I want you to stop overthinking about what other people think. Stop asking for permission. Stop wanting that validation from new friends, new people, whatever the case is. Stop playing small for an audience that isn't even paying attention to you. Okay. Stop playing small for people who really don't care that much about you. Everyone is honestly like obsessed with themselves and what they're thinking about themselves. Okay. So we do not need to be thinking about what they're thinking about all the time because they're not even thinking about us. Okay. Because when you stop caring what others think, you truly become unstoppable. You become so magnetic and you live a life that's so much more fulfilling and purposeful. So, if this episode hit home in any way, I want you to comment, tell me your takeaways, or tell me what landed with you. You can follow me on Instagram at Therapist Brandy. I also have YouTube Therapist Brandy, and then also the Heal Rise Roar podcast on Spotify. Make sure to follow, like, give us a 5 stars, or give me 5 stars. Give us, yeah, me and all my friends here, me and my birds. But yeah, so also share this episode with someone who you feel like needs to hear it as well. Share it with your squad, share it with whoever. But I will just leave that. I'll leave you with that. And heal, rise, roar. It is time to step into your power. Stop caring what other people think because you deserve that. I hope you have an amazing day.